How's everybody doing? I'm Jay Elsen, and this is Coyote Corner. Well, after an 0-3 start, the USD men's basketball team is starting to gain some confidence. The Coyotes scored consecutive wins over Texas State and Graceland and came into last Monday's game against Utah Valley with a chance to even up their record. Joey James and company hosting their former Great West Conference rivals, the Wolverines. Coyotes trailed by as many as 10 in the first half, but they make a run before the break. Karim Rawson with the steal and the slam. He had 7 off the bench. A couple minutes later, USD takes advantage of another Utah Valley turnover. Brandon Boss ahead to Trey Norris for 2 in transition. Game would go to the half, tied at 35 apiece. Yotes would take their first lead of the game on a Trevor Groos bucket with 13 and a half minutes to go, but it didn't last long. Utah Valley big man Ben Aird goes up and over Groos here. Aird scored 14 of his 18 in the second half. Wolverines add to their lead with Holton Hunsacker. 12 hits from way downtown here, and a couple possessions later drops the floater. Hunsacker had 15, and Utah Valley up 7 with about 4.5 to play. But the Coyotes come charging back once again. Brandon Boss slices through the paint for 2 of his team-high 15, and USD back within 1. Next time down, Trey Norris' shot won't go, but Eric Robertson there to clean up the mess. The putback puts USD up 65-64, and this time they wouldn't relinquish the lead. Norris with a great look to Groos. Coyotes score 14 of the game's final 17 points to claim their 3rd straight win.
Guys are they're getting the confidence up. We're making plays at the end of the game, which is what we need. Maybe we're using last year's little motivation to get us going. But like you said, we're able to make plays at the end, which is what we need. We need to close out games. And I think right now we're doing a pretty good job of that. We just got to keep doing it.
They believe that they can win. And we talked about it afterwards in the locker room. And now they're starting to see that. Now the wins start coming, and that's good. You know, if we were 0-5, they might be looking at themselves in the mirror thinking, what are we doing? But stick to the system, stick to the defensive and offensive philosophy, and we're still not where we need to be yet. We still have work to do, but this team just needs games. They're young, but they're slowly growing.
From there, the Coyotes headed west to take on Air Force. Falcons flying high early, back-to-back buckets for Max Jan. He led all scores with 24. Air Force up as many as 5 in the opening minutes. Coyotes wrestled the momentum away. Adam Thosby attacks the rack for 2. Then it's Trey Norris, 3 of his season-high 15. He also had 5 assists. Brandon Boss solid as well. He had 13 on 4 of 6 shooting. Coyotes up 8 at the half. Falcons come storming back in the second. Off the steal, Merrick Olsinski to Justin Hammonds for the lay-in. Back come the Coyotes. Thosby on the drive. Later, Norris finds him in the corner for 3. Thosby finished with 7 points, but the Falcons couldn't miss. They shoot 60% from the floor, hit 26 free throws to turn an 8-point deficit into an 8-point win. 94-86 the final. Coyotes concluded the week in Rapid City. Tyler Flack and company hoping to avenge an earlier loss to Wyoming. Cowboys killed the Yotes with the 3 in Laramie last month, and they started hot again. Riley Grabo came in leading the nation in three-point percentage, hit his first 2 on Saturday. He could dish it as well. Finds Nathan Sobey in the corner, pokes up 2 early. Trevor Groos would help spark the offense for USD. Big man, nice work down low. The senior 3 for 3 from the floor in the first half. Coyotes close the half on a 13-4 run and go to the break up 27-24. But the Cowboys showed some hops in the second. Derek Cook Jr. with the slam, and later Larry Nance Jr. ups the ante. Showtime at the Rushmore Plaza Civic Center. Wyoming back within a pair. On the other end, Tyler Flack, not to be outdone, throws it down on the putback, plus the foul, and the lead is back to 4. But the Cowboys had the answer. Grabo again, his 3rd 3 of the night, puts Wyoming in front. Yotes down 2 now in the final seconds. Brandon Boss, the intentional miss, but he's fouled on the rebound. He'd hit both free throws, and we'd go to overtime, tied at 60. Coyotes strike first in that extra session. Tyler Flack for 3. just his second triple of the season. It puts USD up by 4. But it was all Wyoming from there. Nance with the and one on Eric Robertson. He scored 21 of his game-high 25 points in the second half and overtime. And Wyoming prevails in a thriller, 67-66. Brandon Boss led the Coyotes with 22. Flack records his first collegiate double-double, 11 points and 10 rebounds. But it wasn't quite enough as the Coyotes fall to 3-5 with the loss. Plenty more to come on the week that was for the Coyote men. Interim head coach Joey James will help us dissect his team's most recent 3-game stretch right after this. And welcome back to Coyote Corner. And 3 games on the slate last week for the USD men, and 1 win, 2 losses. Here to talk about it, interim head coach of the Coyote men's basketball team, Joey James. And Joey, let's start Monday night. Utah Valley comes to town, and throw the records out. You thought this was a pretty good basketball team coming in here to play you.
Yeah, it is. I tell you what, they're a very well-coached basketball team, and they came out right away and jumped on us. I believe we got down by about 7 or 8 points in that game to start out. And our guys kind of dug back the first half and ended up going into intermission, tied 35-35. But what a great game that was. We battled back in that second half. We were down again and did some late substitutions, got some energy off the bench from our guys, and I thought Eric Robertson made a big-time play for us with that offensive rebound put back, and and then we ended up closing the game out with free throws to beat a very good Utah Valley team that will do a nice job in that WAC conference this year.
Yeah, you guys actually went into the final media timeout, the under 4 break, down 7 points, and from that point forward, you outscored them 14-3. And afterwards, Brandon Boss, Tyler Larson addressing the media both of them talked about how the confidence never wavered with this team, and that's got to be a good thing, obviously, for you and your team.
Absolutely, and it's one thing we talk about all the time is that you don't ever believe you're ever out of a game. You got to believe you're always going to be able to play as long as you just stick with what our game plan was. And but I thought more than anything, defensively, we really hitched it up another level that last 4 minutes and made some great plays, and offensively we executed a lot better than what we have in the past.
Brandon Boss leads the way, 15 points, hit 6 big free throws down the stretch on a night where you guys struggled at the line, so that was big. Tyler Larson had his best day as a Coyote with 12 points, 5 of 8 shooting off the bench for you.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon's been probably the most consistent player for us up to this point this year. And Tyler Larson, what a great game he had. He's starting to come around a little bit more. And I still don't think he's 100% healthy, but he's looking way more comfortable out there on the floor. And really, really good kid too. Great kid off the floor, but he had a nice game for us, and I was really proud of him.
Final score 71-67. Yotes get that one. Then Thursday head out to Colorado to take on Air Force. You drop a tough one here. Really played well in that opening half, led by as many as 13. Went into the break up 8. Something changed going into the second. I know this is tough for you, but something changed going into the second half of that game, and Air Force ends up putting a 62 spot up in that second half. A lot of it came at the free throw line, though.
It did. First half of that game, I believe we're up 40-32 at intermission. We go into the break. We're feeling really good about ourselves. Told the guys defensively, you got to win the half again. We're going to guard them the same way. We did a really nice job. They ran that Princeton offense with a lot of backdoor cuts. We took a lot of that away. And just really contested every shot and did a nice job rebounding. Come out the second half, and once it got down to that 13-32 mark in that second half, they were already in the double bonus. Now we've got guys like Trevor Gruce and Brandon Boss in foul trouble. That bolted some issues, along with Tyler Flack. I think Tyler Flack fouled out in 8 minutes. 8 minutes of action he fouled out, and so disappointed there. But it was 6 free throws in the first half. They shot 33 in the second half. And we guarded them the same way. Just unfortunately, those are certain things you don't have control over. But our guys still really, really battled in that game. We still had an opportunity to win with our key guys sitting on the bench. So was really proud of their effort in that game. Just unfortunately, we came up short.
94-86, the final in that one. And it doesn't get any easier. You head to Rapid City from there. But I know this was a matchup you were really looking forward to. You lost to Wyoming 70-53 back on November 22nd. I know you didn't feel like you guys played very well. You didn't shoot it very well. So you wanted another chance at the Cowboys. You got it. and it was a very, very different game this time around.
It was. I tell you what a great event that was out there. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to be, but fell in love with it. I know it took away a home game, but the alumni and the fans in the Rapid City area and the surrounding area did a really nice job of having a ton of red and white in there, and so we really appreciated that. But our guys did come out, they battled. I didn't think they were 17 points better than us when we played in Laramie. Our guys knew that, and we had every opportunity to win that basketball game, every opportunity, and didn't close it out. So really disappointed in the loss, but our guys are getting better. They're moving in the right direction. They know that they can be a very good basketball team, and so that's something that we're excited about and look forward to seeing this team grow and develop.
And you mentioned Brandon Boston, just the consistency. Again, you saw it. Huge free throws down the stretch to get it tied up. He finishes with a season high 22 points. And Trey Norris, we need to talk about him. And he's not the box scorer. He's not going to light it up as far as points most nights, but he had 15 at Air Force for you. His assist-to-turnover ratio, one of the best in the country. You love to see that out of a point guard.
I do, and I tell you, at Air Force was probably Trey's best game he's played so far. I think he is 4 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. Had I think 5 or 6 assists, 1 turnover. Very solid effort from our point guard, and if we can get 10 to 12 points out of Trey every night, along with 7 assists, I think that's doing a pretty good job. But he's starting to understand how to play now. He's starting to understand what we need out of him, and he's starting to slowly but surely become a leader on the floor. And our guys love playing with him. I mean, I don't know anybody who wouldn't love to play with a point guard that passes the ball the way he does. But he's got to continue to grow and develop for us, and he will. Again, he's just a sophomore. But absolutely love the kid.
All right, thanks a lot, Joey. Good luck to you this week. Couple tough games at Kansas State, then home on Saturday against Green Bay. All right, stay tuned. The Coyote women picked up a couple of victories last week. We're going to show you the highlights for those when we come back. And welcome back. Well, the Mountain West Conference has been no match for the USD women so far this season. The Coyotes were 2-0 against teams from that league coming into Thursday's matchup against Utah State, a team Amy Williams thought might be the best squad they've seen so far. Utah State was 5-1 coming into this one, but the Coyotes went right at them. Second half, Heidi Hoff looks inside to Polly Harrington. She takes it up strong for 2. A little easier next time around. Nicole Seekamp with a great look here. Harrington finished with 16 on the night. USD is within 3. Back for the Aggies. Franny Vaulu shows some touch. She too had 16 points, 44-41. Utah State. Ingrida Streakus hits the 3 here, but overall Utah State really struggled from the floor, just 25% in the second half. The Coyotes took advantage of that. Seekamp setting up her teammates all night. Finds Hoff in transition later on. Seekamp to Margaret McLeod for the bump and the bucket. And later on, 35 continues to spread the wealth. Quick look to Taya Heemiller in the corner for 3. Seekamp finished with 9 assists on the night. How about one more for good measure to McLeod again? She notched her 5th career double-double with 18 points and 10 rebounds in just 18 minutes of action. And the Coyotes beat a really good Utah State team 81-71. USD now 3-0 against teams from the Mountain West Conference this season. They also beat Boise State and Wyoming. USD looked to keep it rolling Saturday in Rapid City against former assistant Ryan Larson in South Dakota Mines, and Larson's Hard Rockers hanging in there early. Jessica Shull steps back and hits the 3. She finished with 10 points. Coyotes start to work out the kinks from there. Ty Heemiller provided the spark. It's the steal and coasts in for an easy 2, and a couple possessions later, the Watertown native steps back, pops a 3 of her own. She finished with 10 points on the night. Coyotes in control at that point, but Rachel Contreras would add an exclamation point before the half. Off the steal, she pulls up from way downtown and beats the halftime horn, 42-21. USD at the break. Mines kept digging in the second. Megan Rohrer off the window. She led the Hard Rockers with 11 points and 6 rebounds. Back for USD, Contreras continued to have the hot hand. She hit 4 trays on the night, led all scorers with 19 points. Seekamp, meanwhile, shook off a slow start, hits the 15-footer here. She scored 10 of her 13 points in the second half. And Bridget Arns had her best day as a Coyote. The freshman from Crofton, Nebraska, sets career highs with 11 points and 7 rebounds off the bench. And the Yotes cruised to a third straight win, 81-49 the final. USD finished plus 14 on the boards and outscored the Hard Rockers 34-14 in the paint. How satisfied is Amy Williams? Find out next. And welcome back to Coyote Quarter. A couple wins last week for the USD women's basketball team, and here to talk a little bit more about that is head coach of the Coyote women, Amy Williams. Amy, let's start with Thursday. Take them in order. Utah State comes to town, and I know, talking to you last week, that this was a game that you were a little nervous about. You thought this was a pretty good team coming in here.
Yeah, and I still think it's a pretty good team. I really believe that. Some really prolific scorers for that team, and it's not often that I feel like we play pretty good defense when a girl actually goes for 27. But that Jennifer Schlott, just a heck of a scorer, and to even though she had 27 points on us, it took her 30 shot attempts to get there, and I thought that was a pretty good defensive effort from our team, and was a key for our win.
Yeah, she goes, as you said, 10 of 30. You don't see a lot of players taking 30 attempts in a game. You actually trailed this game 39-35 at half, but you held them to 25% from the floor, and that included Schlott in that second half. So what were you able to get done defensively there?
Well, I think the big thing was our goal was to make them take tough shots over the top of our hands, and they have a tendency to do a really good job of drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line, and in the second half we just did a much better job of contesting shots and make them shoot shots over the top of our hands without fouling, and didn't bail out, didn't put them to the free throw line, and just made them take tough shots, and then we rebounded it.
Offensively, led by Nicole Seacap, getting used to saying that at this point. But she had kind of an off night from the floor. She did most of her damage at the free throw line, 20 points for her. But in our conversations leading up to this, it was fairly obvious that the 9 assists maybe was the stat of the day for her.
Absolutely, and that defense that Utah State plays is kind of a half-court trapping defense. It can be kind of dangerous, and Nicole did a great job of just picking the defense apart, and really did a great job with 9 assists, finding open players, particularly Margaret McLeod down low, and fed her with some easy passes to the bucket, and just really was a spark for us offensively.
Yeah, Margaret finishes 18 points, 10 rebounds, just 18 minutes, playing with a heavy heart. Obviously lost her grandma earlier in the week, and so what an effort from her just from that standpoint alone.
Well, she's such a mature young woman, and just to have the focus that she did, I think she was out there playing a little bit for her grandma, but just had great focus, finished shots, went 8 for 9 from the floor, just a tremendous game from Margaret. And
the final score, 81-71. In that game. Then on Saturday, head west to Rapid City and meet an old friend, Ryan Larson, your former assistant, now the head coach at South Dakota Mines. What was that like for you, going head-to-head with your former assistant?
Well, it was a little nerve-wracking to start with, because I knew, Ryan has, his fingerprints are all over our team, and he probably knows our team better than we even know our team, and so we knew that he was probably going to have a great game plan and scout put together for his girls, and I just have a lot of respect for what he does. So it's a little nerve-wracking, just kind of not knowing what he was going to work to take away from us, but once we kind of settled in, the first few minutes of the game were a little sluggish, but once we kind of settled in and found a niche, we had some people step up and score for us.
And Margaret's family situation kept her out of this game, did not make the trip with you to Rapid City. As a result, you knew a couple of your young players were going to get some more opportunity in this one, that being Bridget Arns and Maddie White. What did you see from them?
Well, I was really pleased with what I saw. It seems like Bridget is starting to really get comfortable in our system. She's starting to kind of turn the corner. We saw that. She was productive against Utah State, and I think went 3 for 3 from the floor there. And she's starting to kind of know where she can go, where she can score from, and how she can impact the game just defensively and rebounding-wise. And I thought Maddie did a really nice job of stepping in and absorbing some of those minutes with Margaret being gone. And she made some great decisions, great high-low passes to Bridget, and just impacted the game with her passing.
Rachel Contreras had a nice night for you as well. 19 points off the bench, 4 of 8 from downtown. And I know you were a little bit concerned about her knee coming into this one. Had to feel good to see her out there making some shots. And and looking strong, I guess.
Yeah, well, and Rachel has not been 100%, and she's missed a lot of practice time, just kind of, nursing an injury. And so for her to come out there and be able to produce 19 points in 16 minutes of playing time, it just shows a little bit of what her offensive explosiveness can be like. And it's good to see her. I think that will really help with her confidence, and hopefully we can get her back to 100% so she can do that on a consistent basis.
Win that one 81-49. This week now at 5-5, coming into the week, take on a Northern Iowa team here in Vermillion on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's going to be another tough game. And, I feel like, we've lived against the Missouri Valley and the Mountain West, and those are kind of some challenging teams in that conference. And we feel like, we're excited to have Northern Iowa at home, and hopefully we can come out and take that next step as a team and continue to improve. And we feel like if we do that, we will be successful.
All right, thanks so much, Amy. Good luck to you this week.
Thanks.
All right, well, the new home for USD basketball took another important step forward last week, and we're going to get an update on that from Athletics Director David Herbster when we come back. Finally tonight, construction on USD's new $65 million athletic and academic complex, which includes a 6,000-seat arena for basketball and volleyball, is now one step closer to reality after South Dakota's Board of Regents gave the project its final stamp of approval last week.
We're at a point in time where we're able to actually self-generate almost 75% of the dollars for this and bond the rest of it, and we'll base that final 25% on future revenues, and it's a good feeling.
Now, as for the construction timeline, Herbster says it's still a work in progress, but the goal is to break ground next spring or early next summer. All right, that's going to do it for us for this week. Remember to tune in next Tuesday night for another episode of Coyote Corner.